Learning how to manage worry isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a willingness to try new things. But once you start to get the hang of it and to begin to feel more in control of the worry, there's another important challenge that comes up. How do you hold on to that progress? It's one thing to feel like your worry is finally losing some of its grip, but sustaining that progress over time is something else entirely. Without a plan, it becomes really easy to slip back into old habits, especially when life gets stressful again. And that doesn't mean you're failing at worry management. It just means that the process needs ongoing effort, ongoing attention, just like anything else that matters in life. So in today's video, I want to focus on how do you stay on track with the tools and the strategies to manage worry that actually work. I want to talk about what makes progress stick and how to recognize the early signs that you might be drifting off course, and how to build a personal plan to maintain your worry management skills going forward, even when the worry tries to sneak back in. So let's talk about how to plan ahead to keep moving forward with worry management and the worry management skills that we've learned. Because these skills and strategies aren't just about preventing setbacks, they're about continuing to build confidence in your ability to handle uncertainty, your ability to manage problems effectively, and to stop worry from taking over day to day life. So let's just start with a quick recap of where we've been. We talked about how worry is fueled by things like intolerance of uncertainty, unhelpful beliefs about worry, negative problem orientation, and ineffective problem solving. We've also talked about the role of cognitive avoidance and how avoiding distressing thoughts or worries can actually maintain the cycle of worry. And more recently, we talked about a recipe for dealing with different types of worry: type 1 worries, type 2 worries, and complex or mixed worries. And if you've been going along with this worry management series, you may have seen some positive changes if you've been using some of these skills. And that's not just fluke. This approach that I've been describing in this worry management series is based on an extremely well researched treatment protocol developed by a psychologist named Michael Dugas and his colleagues at Concordia University in Montreal. And what their studies found is that people with generalized anxiety disorder who did this type of treatment that we've been talking about saw significant improvements in their worry and anxiety levels over time. And even more encouraging, they found that the majority of people maintained those gains that they had from therapy 2 years even after the treatment ended. So some people even improved further after the treatment ended. And what made the difference between those who maintained or improved in terms of their worry management and worry over time versus those who started to slip back wasn't just about how well they did during treatment. It came down to what they did after the treatment ended. The people who maintained their progress or continued to improve after therapy ended were the ones who kept using the tools. The ones who relapsed, the ones who experienced their worry come back after treatment ended, were the ones who stopped using the skills because they felt better and just wanted to put the whole experience behind them. So, how can you stay in that first group? How can you stay in that group of people who either maintain their gains or continue to build and get better over time, even after treatment has ended? Well, the first key is planning ahead for stress. Life stressors are one of the biggest triggers for worry. Now, some stressors are unpredictable, like losing a job unexpectedly, or a loved one gets sick, or something major just comes out of the blue. You can't plan for those types of things. But there are a lot of stressors that are predictable. The holiday season is a great example. For many people, it's a time where worry really spikes, whether it's about money or family dynamics or social obligations or just being overwhelmed with everything that they've got to do. So if you know certain times of year or certain events or certain situations are likely to bring up worry for you, the idea is to not wait for them to catch you off guard, but to plan for them. Think about what skills you're going to use to manage the worry when that stress comes up. Maybe that means being more deliberate with tolerating uncertainty during that time. Maybe it means revisiting some of the worry beliefs and reminding yourself of why worry doesn't actually help. Maybe it means making a list of common problems that tend to come up during stressful times and brainstorming how you'll address those problems using the problem solving approaches we've talked about. Whatever the strategy, the idea is to go into stressful periods with a plan, not just to hope that things will go smoothly, because the reality is they often don't go smoothly, certainly under stressful conditions. But when you have a plan, you're more likely to respond in ways to keep your worry management progress intact. Now, the second part of progress planning is reviewing your tools regularly. Think of it like keeping your skills sharp. Now, you don't have to spend hours every week reviewing videos or reading notes, but it's helpful to check in with yourself. Ask yourself, have I been using tolerating uncertainty exercises lately? Have I fallen back into trying to solve unanswerable questions? Am I spotting my worry beliefs when they show up, or am I letting them just be there and direct my behavior? You might find it helpful to set a recurring reminder once a month to remind you to reflect on whether or not you're using your worry management skills. The idea here is it's you're making sure that the strategies you worked so hard to learn don't just fade into the background. When we stop practicing, our skills lose their sharpness. That's just how skills work, whether it's managing worry or playing an instrument or using a language that you learned. Another thing you can do is to identify your high risk situations. Think about the types of worries or triggers that you've struggled with the most. Might be health concerns or job performance or finances or relationships. Whatever it is, be honest with yourself about the areas where worry tends to take hold. Then ask yourself a couple of questions. What does it look like when I'm handling this type of worry well? And secondly, what do I tend to do when the worry is getting the better of me? So if you can outline your best practices for managing worry and your typical pitfalls, you'll be a lot more prepared to handle those high risk moments when they come up again. And finally, give yourself credit for how far you've come. Managing worry isn't easy. It takes work, it takes effort, and it takes consistency. So if you've been applying the skills, even imperfectly, you're making meaningful progress. The fact that you're even thinking about how to maintain that progress says a lot about how likely you are to keep maintaining your worry management skills in the future. And in the next video in this series, I'll be talking about relapse prevention, what to look out for, how to catch yourself early on if old habits start creeping back in, and how you can put together a plan that you can use if things start to slide. And I'll put a link to that video here once it's been posted. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.